In this video, we're going to be modding a Boss TR-2 tremolo pedal. This pedal's notorious for having a volume drop when pressed. So what we're actually going to do is change out this potentiometer. We're going to change this potentiometer to a dual concentric potentiometer, so we'll be able to control the volume as well as the depth. On top of that, we're going to change out the LED. This one's actually damaged, so we're going to switch it out for a nice cool white color. And then on top of that, we're going to switch this thing to high fidelity. So we're going to switch out some capacitors. That way we can get the highest quality sound out of this pedal. In case you don't know who I am, I'm Robert Saldana. I love electronics. I love programming. Music is my passion. So I really go to these pedals. I like to do pedal mods. I like to mess around with guitars, make different sounds. I hope you can get a lot out of this video, and I hope that you can probably mod your pedals and show me what you guys got. Let's get started. Alright, in order to do this mod, you will need a Boss Tremolo pedal, a Dual Concentric Potentiometer, 100K, the knobs that go with this. In order to do the HiFi mod, we're going to be switching out 5 capacitors. The first one is going to be a C6. This one's going to be a 1 microfarad capacitor. The other one is the C2, which is right here. That one's also going to be a 1 microfarad capacitor. Then we have C1, which will be a 0.1 microfarad. The other 0.1 microfarad is going to be C8. The last one is going to be C3. We're going to be changing out this one for a 0.47 microfarad capacitor. Now, these 4 are film capacitors, and this one is a Mylar. Mainly because I did not have another film, the Mylar will work perfectly fine. To do the volume mod, we're going to switch out this trim pot, which used to be a resistor, and then they switched it to a trim pot. We're going to switch this out. We're going to connect this wire and then connect the other end to our potentiometer. The other side of the potentiometer is going to be the same connectors that are connecting to the current trim pot right now. First things first, let's go ahead and take care of that LED. And of course the LED, there's a little screw, just unscrew it, and then we'll just replace the LED very easily. It's very important that you make note of how these LEDs connect. You don't want to put them backwards. So the way this LED is connected is the orange wire is your anode and the green wire is the cathode. And on an LED, the longest wire is your anode. So make sure that you connect the longest wire to the orange wire. And you still want to use this plastic piece, so go ahead and keep that. You want to measure it and just maybe leave a little bit extra and snip the rest. Or you can snip it afterwards, that's what I'm going to do. What I like to do to keep it in place, what I'll do is I'll bend the piece a little bit and then I'll bend the wire so it kind of stays in place. And there we have it, nice new LED. Let's go ahead and put it back in place. It should pop out like that. Perfect. Next, we'll replace the capacitors. So first, let's remove them all. That way we can just solder in all of them. We'll also remove the trim pot as well, since we'll be getting rid of that. Okay, so I got everything out. But before we pop anything in, make sure and click that like button. Okay, so we got all the capacitors in. It looks pretty good. You also want to make sure that you put them in as tightly as possible so that when you close this thing back up, everything will fit. And I pushed everything all the way down because if it does not close, then there's going to be problems. So it looks pretty good. It's a little tight on this side here, but that's okay. The next thing we need to do is actually put in the wiring, which is going to go into our pot. So let's go ahead and do that. Now for this one, we only need 2 wires. So I cut off the other wire, which was the white wire, and I went ahead and left the black and the red. Of course, you'll need to split these up a little bit. That way you have some room. You don't need that long of a wire. I would say you probably need about 5 inches, and you may need to cut it some more. We'll start with this, then we need to cut it. We'll go ahead and cut it. And there you go. So now I have my wire, and then the next thing we need to do is actually switch out this potentiometer. So we'll remove that and then we'll get that started. Okay, so this is how I connected the potentiometer. I pretty much removed the old one, connect the bottom part to the board, and then this terminal 2 we don't really need. It's only terminal 1 and the wiper. So terminal 1 and the wiper, we're going to go ahead and connect those 2, and that's pretty much it. Alright, so this is what she looks like. So far I haven't plugged it in. It's a nice little pot. You have the depth is going to be the bottom one, and then your volume is going to be the top. You have a new white LED, and of course these will work just as before. I prefer this way because you don't have to drill into your pedal and, you know, hack it all up. If you want to just buy a trim pod, you can, and put it to potentiometers. I've seen people put them on the side here. I mean, it's your pedal, so you can do whatever you want. There's other mods you could do with this, but these are my favorite. If you want to hear this thing, just click that like button, and then I'll go ahead and play some samples. Thanks. Everything sounds really good. As you can see, it looks really good with this white LED. Right now I have the depth at 3 o'clock. I have my volume at 3 o'clock, and I went ahead and put my rate at 12, and my wave is all the way to squared. So even just this at 3 o'clock, you can tell that the volume is the same. But you could actually boost it, and it gets pretty loud. You can play with this thing as much as you want. So there you have it. This is a really good mod to do. Just follow the video and you should be able to get it done. Just make sure that you put that potentiometer on correctly, because sometimes this will not line up, and I had to go back and realign it to make sure that it actually would have a minimum and maximum pointing to the correct area. So that's just something to look forward to. You can change the LED to whatever you want. I've seen some really cool mods where they put a disc plate in the bottom and have the LED light up the bottom of the pedal. That's something else you can possibly do. There's one more thing that needs to be done. You need to click that like button to give this guy its highest fidelity possible. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you guys next time.